Many women have a fantasy, and that fantasy is to be fully taken care of, cherished, loved, without them having to ask for anything that they need. The man is just so in tune with their needs and with their feelings that he knows exactly what needs to be done, and he just does it. And a woman just gets to be open and receive all of that care. This fantasy is very understandable, especially for a woman who is very much in touch with her feminine instinct, because this is the feminine instinct. It is to be taken care of without even having to do anything, ideally. However, this fantasy also sets really unhealthy expectations for most women, and it actually keeps many women stuck because they don't focus on learning how to communicate their needs and feelings. And if a woman doesn't know how to communicate her needs and feelings, they will never be able to inspire a man enough to get to the point where he can and chooses to sustainably anticipate a woman's needs to that level. And on this video, I'm going to explain exactly why that is and what a woman can do about that as far as shifting her communication to be able to truly inspire a man into anticipating her needs in the way that I described. Before we talk about that, I'm going to introduce myself. Hello, my name is Zach Rody. I'm here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams using your feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that below. Hit the notification bell and be sure to like this video because I'm going to make sure it's a good one for you today. And if you would like help inspiring a man into cherishing you, then go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the links to all of my offers. Go to my free webinar to start at zachrodycoaching.com to learn all about your unhealthy control patterns that are demotivating a man from taking care of you. All right, so let's begin. I am going to start by reading a section of my book, Inspire His Devotion. You can find this book and all of my books on Amazon by typing in my name, Zach Rody, on the Amazon website. So I am going to read all about this fantasy that many women have, which, by the way, understand, I'm not judging it. It's a great fantasy. Many women have a fantasy where it is unnecessary for them to express their needs or desires to a man. The man is so competent and in tune with her feelings that he anticipates exactly what she needs and wants before she even knows. She fantasizes about him being a mind reader. He gives her hugs and kisses all day. He plans amazing dates and time with her. By the way, just so you understand, we're talking about a really healthy, dominant, masculine man that you are super attracted to. As I'm reading this, I'm anticipating that some women will be thinking, I don't really want that much from my man, if you're currently with a man. I like tons of my own time and space. But we're talking about a man that you just can't get enough of. All right, you might never have experienced such a thing, but they exist. You just need to learn how to attract them or inspire your man to become that kind of man for you. So he plans amazing dates and time with her. He helps her with opening jars and doors, lifting heavy objects, and cleaning up when she's stressed. He buys thoughtful gifts for her all the time. He gives her compliments and support whenever she's feeling down and gives her the perfect advice to help her feel good again. All without her needing to say anything. He just knows what she needs. This fantasy is very much aligned with the feminine instinct to receive. A woman feels the most cherished when she doesn't have to express her needs, but they get met anyway. Okay, so that's the fantasy. Now here is the problem with the fantasy. It's that a man is only going to feel that inspired to anticipate so many of your needs when you are fully operating in your feminine self-worth. That means you are fully leaning back, you're not leading in any kind of way, and you believe on the deepest level, not a conscious belief, but a deep knowing of your worth. Of course you are worthy of being taken care of. So it's not a conscious belief of like, yeah, of course I deserve that, right? No, that's more just entitlement. That's more expectation. I'm talking about this deep knowing, and that it's the deep knowing itself that's actually going to attract that kind of care. However, if you are a woman who does not fully communicate her needs whenever you have an unmet need in some kind of way, then you are not in your feminine self-worth. At least some of the time. If you are just waiting passively and hoping that a man meets those needs, but he doesn't meet them, then you are not fully in your self-worth. You are avoiding communicating what you need. You're avoiding communicating what you feel out of fear of rejection, out of fear of abandonment, out of fear of his reactions. Or if you are a woman who does communicate quite often what your needs are, but you do it in a more masculine way, with judgments, expectations, nagging, asking questions, putting your desires onto him, like, hey, I'd love it if you do this, I'd love it if you do that, I'd really like if you do this. All of that is leading. So you're not actually in your feminine self-worth. You might be exhibiting some level of masculine self-worth, but you're not in your feminine self-worth, because to be in your feminine self-worth, you have to be using what I call feminine communication, which means you are communicating in a way where you are not energetically leading. You are just expressing yourself. You're just opening yourself up. You're just being vulnerable without trying to get any kind of outcome. So, if you are not fully using feminine communication consistently, whenever you have an unmet need, what will happen is the man will sense that you are not in your self-worth fully. And to be inspired to take care of you, he needs to fully be able to feel your self-worth. And I've used this analogy before, especially recently, about a car, right? Do you believe on the deepest level that you are this brand new, really expensive Ferrari? Or do you believe that you're a beat-up 1980s Chevy, or somewhere in between? A man's going to put all this effort into taking care of that Ferrari without being told to do it. It's just like he wants to keep it looking perfect. He wants to protect it. He's inspired to because he knows how much value it has, how valuable it is. And you're the same way, except your value is dependent on how you feel about yourself on the deepest level. And a woman who believes that she is really deeply valuable, she's going to be showing up in a way where she's exhibiting that. She's going to be communicating her needs and feelings because she knows how important her feelings are. She knows how much her needs matter. A woman who has lower self-worth is not going to be communicating those needs and feelings very much. She's going to be holding back. She's going to be hiding them. So I'm going to give you an example just to illustrate this a bit more. It's going to make a lot more sense. I'm going to talk about my relationship with my wife. This is relatively recent. This was only a couple of years ago. This was a topic of conversation my wife and I had well after I had begun helping her let go of control to receive my gifts. Prior to the conversation, I had spent the previous few weeks overwhelmed in my business, working that's relationship of your dreams business. I had spent the previous few weeks overwhelmed in my business, working 12-hour plus days, trying to manage a team and dozens of clients. Our second child, a girl, had recently been born, and I was also choosing to do more around the house and interacting with her to take some of the burden off my wife. This took a huge toll on my energy and inspiration to give my wife affection and spend time with her. I started to withdraw and spent almost all free time by myself. My wife began to feel increasingly bad and started telling herself stories that she was doing something wrong, until finally she asked to talk with me and shared that she felt sad. Of course, that's one of the things that I've taught her to do, is when she's feeling sad, you come and tell me. I want to know whenever she's feeling bad, especially if it's something that I've done or not done. She told me that she wanted me to initiate time and affection with her without her needing to ask for that time and affection. She had little problem asking me to help her with something, but opening a pickle jar, for example, but asking for affection was very different for her. She doesn't enjoy asking because she doesn't want to be a burden. This is a self-worth thing, and doesn't want to seem needy. Receiving affection when she asks for it doesn't feel nearly as good to her as receiving it when she doesn't have to ask. That's why she took so long to say something. Okay, so understand that of course it's going to feel better for a woman to just be taken care of, to be given all of this affection and love and compliments without having to ask. That is natural, that's normal, that's healthy. But it's also important to be able, I'm repeating myself here, but it needs to be repeated, to be able to communicate when you have an unmet need, including something like not enough affection. And this can be a really hard, sensitive issue for women to bring up, because just like my wife, you don't want to seem needy. You don't want to be a burden to a man. And so to a woman, of course, what you're going to be thinking is, if my man wanted to be affectionate with me, he would be. Okay, so I shouldn't ask because obviously he doesn't want to, and I don't want to be a burden. But that's actually not true. Like, let's destroy that myth together right now. Like, this is exactly what I did with my wife. I destroyed this myth. A man needs to give. He feels good by giving. That's what, and I'm talking about a masculine man whose instinct is online. And he needs to be needed. So much of his desire, his inspiration to take care of his woman, his children, his community, everything, but let's focus on woman. We'll stay contained on this topic. To take care of his woman comes from knowing how needed he is. And I don't mean a woman being needy and clingy with him. That's different, right? That's where you're putting that energy onto a man. But I mean, he knows that she needs him. And so when a woman communicates vulnerably and she's like, man, I have help, like I'm feeling these big feelings, I'm feeling needy, I'm feeling sad, you're not clinging, you're just vulnerably expressing what's going on for you. And you share the reason, like, you're not touching me as much as you used to, and I don't know what's going on, right? I miss it, right? I miss our affection. So you're not blaming, you're not judging, you're just vulnerably sharing what the problem is without putting it onto him. Now a man knows, oh, this is what she needs. I didn't realize how much you needed this. And now he's going to be more inspired to want to fulfill that need for you, now that he knows that he is needed. Now again, I need to really hammer this into you. This is so dependent on how you communicate this, because there are so many ways that women will communicate a need like this in a way that turns a man off, that pushes him away, that causes him to withdraw, either by judging or blaming or by asking a whole bunch of questions or by presenting your feelings with a clingy energy or a victim-y kind of energy. And I've experienced it all. I haven't experienced any of that for my wife except for the judging and blaming, but with other women, like, neediness, clinginess, just all these ways of putting that onto me, acting like a victim, and that will cause a man to not want to give anything to her. Because it needs to come freely from a man's autonomy. He must choose, without anything pulling at him, choose to give it to her freely. And that's what vulnerable feminine communication does, because you're not putting that onto him. You're just expressing what's going on for you, and then he has the free energetic choice to choose to give it to you. And then, of course, if he really cares about you, he'll want to, and he'll feel good about giving it to you. So when my wife shared this with me, even though I was so busy and I had so much going on and I was overwhelmed in my business and, trying to be a good father and all of this, it gave me this extra energy. It infused in me this extra energy to be more affectionate with her. Why did that energy come out of nowhere? It's because I knew that I was needed and she wasn't putting that onto me in any way. She was just being vulnerable. And I wanted to fulfill that need for her. Now, what this also does is, now that she's communicating this, she's opening up more into her feminine self-worth. She's not just waiting and hoping, and also probably silently judging and feeling bad. She's opening into her self-worth because she's communicating what's actually coming up for her. And the more that she does that, the more that I'm going to feel her self-worth, and the more that I'm going to want to add to her self-worth by giving her even more. This is not something where a woman can just bring it up once and that's it, right? It's like, oh, you should just totally be anticipating my needs from now on. It doesn't work that way. That would be the equivalent of like a man correcting a woman once and saying like, hey, you're being disrespectful here, ask me permission or communicate in this way, and then expecting her to be able to consistently always know how to communicate with them after that. No, a woman's going to have to bring this up many times. And of course, the idea of doing that, you're going to think like that's a huge burden. Like, I'm going to keep bringing it up with him. Like, I'm just going to be nagging. It's not nagging when it's feminine communication. Okay? It's not a burden when it's feminine communication, when you're truly clean and energetically vulnerable. It's always a gift because guess what? Your heart is always a gift to a man, and that includes all of the negative feelings that you're communicating as well. And the more that you do this, the more that you shift into your self-worth, and then the more that a man starts to anticipate your needs effortlessly. Part of it is because you're shifting more into your self-worth, and part of it is because you're informing him, and he's now knowing how much you really need him. So he's much more inspired. And there is that future day, now we're talking about that fantasy again, of being fully taken care of. The man's anticipating all of your needs all the time. It can get to that point, but you have to be able to communicate fully, consistently, without avoiding, to get to that point. to shift into your self-worth so that a man is that inspired to want to take care of you on that level. Now, a lot of men, some men, will do that with a woman early on with dating, like really taking care of her, anticipating her needs, and it doesn't last. And it doesn't last because the woman is not in her self-worth. Because she's dependent on him anticipating her needs, but she's not even really that capable of communicating her needs. So eventually, he feels her lack of self-worth and he loses that motivation to want to take care of her and anticipate her needs on that level. That's why the cart must come before the horse. To consistently inspire a man to anticipate your needs, you have to consistently be able to communicate your needs. And eventually it will get to the point where you're like a ninja walking down the street, right? Your beliefs become your reality. When you're a ninja and you're capable of beating the crap out of anyone, nobody is going to mess with you because they can feel it in your energy that it would be a very bad idea to mess with you. In a similar way, but it's kind of different as well, when you are so good at communicating your needs, you no longer really have to communicate your needs very often because your self-worth is so much online that a man can sense it and just wants to take care of your needs without you having to even ask. If you would like help learning how to take this journey and shift fully into your self-worth and learn how to communicate your needs in a way that a man loves and is inspired by, then go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the links to all of my offers that can help you do this. And if you would like hands-on support from me and my team to show you how to implement these shifts and practice these shifts with you, then go to my academy offer at thedreamrelationship.com. Book a call with me. We'll talk all about what's going on in your love life, what your control patterns are, what you need to shift. We'll find out if working with us is the right choice for you. And if it is, then you can step into working with us and start creating the relationship of your dreams. If that's you, then I look forward to speaking with you on that call. That's it for this one.